I come from a farming family. I'm from Mahbubnagar. Koder is the village, and all of our people are into agriculture side of the business. And I think there are a lot of values that you learn from farming, and in terms of the hard work and dedication and persistence. So I think, and I took it up from my parents, and my dad is a model for me. And finished my junior college, and I came to Hyderabad, started my engineering. Right after engineering here, I went to US to do my master's in engineering there, and I went to University of Texas, Arlington, finished there, then went to California, worked in California in semiconductor business for close to 5 years, and then I got married. My wife got a residency, she's a doctor, so she got residency in Chicago, so I moved to Chicago. Next 17 years I spent in Chicago. It was a very good run with American Express. I started with American Express on the IT side of the business, and I had this itch to do MBA and MBA from top schools. So I went to world's #1 at that time, Kellogg. I did my MBA from Kellogg. And once I finished my MBA from Kellogg, I wanted to do something different than IT. So then I did the finance, corporate finance, and then operations, and moved jobs from American Express to Gurgaon, Delhi in 2003, and closed the shop in Chicago and commuted to Fort Lauderdale sometime. And then I joined Morgan Stanley in Chicago, and on the risk management side of the business. It was a very good run. I had a 4.5 years. In 4 years, I got 6 promotions. Things were doing fairly well. In first 6 months, what I showed carried me for the next time. And one thing that worked very well for me was getting down to the nitty-gritty details and going down and working along with the teams and listening to the calls and saying how it happened. Then you can ask the right questions. So that worked very well for me. I had this yearning to come back to India. I didn't do much, but I spoke at a conference. I was a keynote speaker in Las Vegas on a conference on Sunday night. On Tuesday, I got a call from GE Capital. And next, I went to Tokyo, talked to the guy, and came to India as CEO for GE Capital India.
Oh, nice.
So life was good. I was handling 28,000 people and 183 offices, locations. So things were okay. The only loved the job, enjoyed the job. Yes. The only one problem there was I was living in Hyderabad, working in Delhi and Chennai. So the travel was significant, and then Bangkok, then Japan, all those things. So my kids told me one thing: we like India, but we want you to find something here in Hyderabad. So that's when I said, okay. At 6:30 in the morning, I called from the airport to one of my friend, and next day I got a call from head of HR here. Thursday I met the president. Over the weekend I met the brothers, and then got the job and joined Satyam BPO at that time as CEO. Venkatesh Rodam, who was handling it, he was moving on. I have a lot of respect for him, and he wanted to pursue some other career. So I went and joined. I joined towards the end of August, and you know what happened. In January, the $1 billion problem showed up, and we needed to do what we needed to do. But one thing that really worked very well is working with the team and getting into the ground and figuring out what needs to be done. So we were never profitable before, but then we said, based on situation now, we need to become profitable to pay for ourselves. So I went to the floors, talked to the associates. It was, since it's a separate company, I had a balance sheet and bank accounts, so access. So I was telling them I have money for 3 more months. So we'll figure it out what to do in the next 3 months. So let's try to do, and let's try to deliver more than what we need to. And people excelled. Our delivery metrics got even better. Our customers supported us, and those are the key customers still today with us. And there's a lot of gratification today of going through that crisis and coming through successfully. And Tech Mahindra acquisition coming and giving the support definitely helped. Having the vision from Anand, Mahindra and CP Gurnani and definitely helped us to allay those fears and get it done. I think it really worked out very well. I think from our perspective, going through, sometimes what happens is you go through the trouble times, and when things get better, you forget the learnings. And what I told my management team is, we should never forget the learnings that we got. So at that time, I had 42 vice presidents and GMs. We had to go down to 17 to survive. And today, like now, the BPS together is 37,000 people, and still we don't have that many vice presidents. So I think we kept our structure very lean, and from June 2009 onwards, we've been profitable every month.
Yes.
And and growth also has been there. Now we are growing significantly. We are there in Philippines, we are there in Budapest, we are there in Brazil, we are there in Mexico, so, and also in the US. So I think growth has been fairly good, and glad to be here. And people ask me, is Vijay, since you worked 25 years in the US and everything, you don't need to work to make a living. So why do you work? Why do you come to work? I really enjoy what I'm doing. So that's what keeps me alive, and that's what keeps me going, and I'm glad to be here. By the time I got out of the village, this was more of a 1974 10th, and 76 is the intermediate. And but I did 10th and intermediate not in the village. I already did it outside. The village did not have electricity, but we did get electricity before I moved to US. And it's a sizable village. At that time itself, my village has a 10,000 people population. And from my family, my uncles and everybody, they had this, whatever the Patel Patwari positions. And we used to enjoy. And at the end of the day, I think people were not rich, but they knew how to be happy. And I think coming from the background gives you definitely, rural background gives you definitely some appreciation for the toils that our farmers go through. And I'm pretty pleased to see what current government has done. Number one, 100% power, free power, available 24 hours. And the second aspect of it is water. River Krishna was going next to my village, but it was never, we were always depending on rainwater before. Now the canals are going through our own fields. I don't even have to put an engine for the water supply. Now the water is coming. So I'm pretty pleased on the water, pretty pleased on the electricity, and pretty pleased on this support that government is giving in the terms of 4,000 rupees per acre to support the fertilizers and investments that need to make. So I think that's a very good thing. Overall, now since I'm here, still I do go and visit my village, and it's good to see the people. And there are a lot of people who have worked very hard and come up very well, and things are going fairly good. It's good to be there. While we're a rural agriculture farming family, my father was in government service, and there's a lot of values and being humility that you could learn while you're in service, and I think there's a lot of values that we've taken up. I've been lucky to have my elder brother, who is a physician, who moved to US before me, and he is an oncologist in the US, and he was an inspiration for us, saying, hey, come here and we'll take care of you. And he went there for $20, and then he built a big fortune, and then knowing that he's there allowed me to go, and I was looking up to going to US because he's there. Once we went there, and I think all of us need to do what we need to do. We worked very hard, got some jobs, and then worked through and finished your degree and went to California and then get into a job. I think one thing that I really appreciate my working in California was, it's a 50 people company, became 450 people in a span of 4 years. We also went public, but growing from a small company and growing 50 to 450 in a span of 4 years that all the growth pangs that come, and how do you circumvent it, and how do you take care of those things, and how you play multiple roles. I was marketing, I was manufacturing, I was quality and everything. I think that training initially helps you to stabilize and to play multiple hats, multiple roles, and doing more with less is some of the things that you learn from there, and that worked out very well. Once I moved to American Express, I think American Express is a big company, had a lot of money and a lot of these things. So cash or having a budgets was not a problem, but there you need to make a difference in the terms of criticality and how you are doing the role and how you are able to make significant improvements in day to day to increase the customer experience, which it is known for being number one. So I think overall in each of the job you learn certain things, certain values that gets ingrained in you, and that definitely helped me in working at a G Capital and then working at most of your decisions are framed by the company that you keep. Number one, my brother has been a guiding light telling me, hey, things are very good here, come here and we'll take care of you. And number two, in a class of 30 in my mechanical engineering class, 12 of us were sitting in the same plane. So it's a group think. All of us need to go to US, that's where you build fortunes and come back. And yes, could I have stayed back and wrote for ISS? Maybe I could, but at that time, thought process was different times, different decisions. You know what, I think from a people of Telangana, I see a lot of optimism. It's not just in the city, it is when I go to the villages also. And when I talk to the farmers there, when I talk to the people who are collecting the pensions. So I think there is a lot of optimism, I would say that. Second aspect of it is things that have been improbable or not even thought about, what would happen, suddenly entire Telangana would become dark because there is no power, and I think kudos to the government, they have changed that scenario by strategically framing the agreements and getting the power 24 hours, and that's a early win that really helped their credibility. Once they did that, I think the access to the government and them coming and approaching to us, I think some of the companies, I don't have any hesitations taking my customers to our IT Minister KTR Garu and Jayesh Ranjan and telling them this is what I want, and they immediately tell, hey, buck stops here and we can do it, and we have done it many times. And that's why you would see the growth of this particular state being significantly higher than the national average of 10.3. We are running at a 15.6, which is 150% growth. Our IT exports went up from 55,000 to now close to 94,000, and today more than 5 lakh plus people are there in direct and indirect jobs. And all of this, kudos to the government and kudos to the right steps to the industry and environment, and I would say a lot of things. And the ease of doing business also significantly helped, and doing so and also having the right ecology or a right environment in place, having trained skilled people, having a task to train those people, and also having the right infra, having the power, having the water and everything. And one example I'll quote, we went and asked, we were getting a 5 million gallons per day to IT area as a part of HICIA. We went and asked, we want to go for 8 million. And KTR said, you're thinking today, let's think tomorrow. And he immediately passed a check for 10 million gallons per day. So that's what the infra kind of support. But for all these things, today Hyderabad is becoming another Bay Area. In fact, better than Bay Area, because you have companies from Seattle here, like Microsoft and Amazon. You have companies from Bay Area. So whichever company that you are thinking about, all these companies have set up headquarters here, and that's a good place to be. And also when I talk to them, they're saying ease of doing business, ability to find the talent, all those things are very important. All of these things is a very good signal, and as I said, I'm very optimistic. Development is visible. I see the electricity. Again, going to the rural. In the cities, you always have generators. Our generator bill has gone down significantly. I have access to the bills and I sign out those checks, so I can see it going down. Water. And, I can't talk about Bhagirath yet. I know a lot of work is going on, but actually when it gets delivered, it's delivered. But what I'm talking about is having the water in the fields and water flow. That's gives a lot of freshness, a lot of confidence to the people too. And I think third aspect of it is, while I'm representing IT industry as part of HICIA and the Cyber Security Council and TOI like that, there's a development has been multifold. Whether you look at manufacturing side of the business, whether you look at pharmaceutical side of the business, whether you look at even aerospace kind of side of the business, I think the companies are coming up and setting a shop here. So it's not a single IT, it's a multifold. I'm pretty good. I'm glad that it is happening, and I'm glad that we are number one, and I'm glad that we are in a place where our most of the states are budget deficit states, and we are one of the budget surplus states. When people have multiple options, in fact, one customer I took to the government, my customer had 6 locations in their mind. 3 locations in India, 3 locations outside India. And right after the meeting, they had a list of questions. They want this, and they had a list of. After the meeting with our IT government, IT department, immediately they came out and says, these guys are not politicians, they are businessmen. They know what, they put themselves in our shoes, and immediately they said yes in a couple of days, and today they are in Hyderabad. They negated all this. I think one is access, number 2 ability to make a decision, number 3 execution to make things happen. I think all of those things helps. All of those things help in the terms of making sure all these guys are welcome. I think in the terms of safety, I have associates coming from the north, east, west and south. And one thing that I would say is Cyber Security Council has been a model where other people have been coming and visiting how we have been able to do it. And we have been able to reduce the crime significantly. Having cameras at every place and having the connectivity is helping us solve very difficult crimes. Recently, I was chatting with the police commissioner here, Mr. Sajnar. Now the people say, hey, let's not go to Hyderabad, we get caught. So that's the thing, and it's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. Kudos to the team that has done it, and they've invested well, not only in the cameras, but also in the physical infrastructure, like a lot more roaming jeeps and access to dial 100 and getting things, all that helps. I think if the same scenario grows and if we continue the growth rates that we do, today we are number 2. Bangalore is number 1 even today because they started early, they had this early starter advantage there, and their base became very big even before we started. When we are doing 55,000 crores, they were already 120,000 crores. So that's why I said we'll get to 120,000. Continuing this growth rate, I think we will be number 1 in India in the terms of the IT growth exports. And number 2, from an innovation wise, if you take a look at, and if you go and look at Intel, if you go and look at Microsoft, you go and look at Amazon, most of the guys developing the products, not services, products, are Indians there, people that go from here and develop it. And having the T-Hub and innovation culture here and access to the VCs, I see a lot more startups becoming big out of here and developing the products. And 5 years from now, I would like to see Hyderabad as another Bay Area here, so where it attracts the talent and keeps it there and makes it happen. You know what? I think definitely it is helping them. It's helping me. It's helping my colleagues, and where I'm able to, in fact, just last month I took a customer, and the customer was planning to make investments in Telangana, and having that deep discussion where these guys were thorough and the frank, they did their homework and come back and specifically answer the questions, not a generic questions but a specific answers. I think that really imbibes a lot of confidence to our customers, and I think that really helps. One. Number two is having the right, while the government may support, how is the environment, like am I getting the talented people to work here? If they are not there, it's a new industry, are there people that, are there possible platforms to train them? All that ecology has to be in place, and I think that's where I think Hyderabad is coming out fairly well, and it's significant promotion, and from both I would say KTR and Jayesh has put it through, even for not only for big companies like us, but a SME forum, small and medium companies. They are also looking forward to for the growth, where the links can happen and take it forward. I would say change is inevitable. Change is going to happen. Rather than fighting it, how you adapt to the change is going to differentiate. We know there are a lot of technology levers are happening, and just for you, like we have implemented robotics process automation in place. So the job that used to need 100 people I used to require, now I need only 70 people, and in next 2 to 3 years I will cut that down to 40 people. So automation is going to happen. So the number of jobs that are going to be available in technology is going to less. But those doomsdays have been there from all along. But newer technologies are coming up. One is in the terms of the blockchain. Blockchain is a significant thing that's going to happen. It's going to change the way we do the business. In fact, Tech Mahindra partnered with the Telangana state government, and we signed an MOU, and we established a blockchain district now. I think the enough investments are going to be made where all the startups that are going to take a look at our day-to-day events and how they can transform our day-to-day events. I think what needs to be done is all these new technologies are going to change the way we live, and how looking at them, anticipate it and plan for it and get ourselves ready for it. I think that's how what would differentiate us and take us there. In the terms of the Tech Mahindra is luckily part of a Mahindra group, which has been established in 1945. Mahindra Group by itself is a $21 billion company with a 250,000 plus people and 100 plus countries. And it's good to see when I go to Texas to see Mahindra tractors there, right? And the number of tractors, we are higher than John Deere, which is what's number one in revenue. They're into multiple facets, whether it's aircraft, the ports, or rural financing, or the hospitality business. So they're in multiple things. And IT firms, we are, or 4.9 billion is part of the 21 billion. And we used to be like a close to 2 billion in 2009, and we grew a lot more, closer to 5 billion now. And our plans are very aggressive to support the growth and make it bigger. We are supported by 113,000 associates across multiple countries with multiple nationalities. And you should know that Hyderabad is our biggest delivery location. Out of 113,000, 20,000 of our people are from Hyderabad. They are in this location between here and Bahadurpalli. And I have one more center at Oris in Secunderabad. So these are the three locations we are delivering services. And right after Hyderabad, Pune comes there. And in the terms of the local situation wise, our guys have been pretty much involved with what's going on. In fact, I'm pretty pleased to see what our CSR group does. We adopted some schools, and we not only just adopting, but also there is a scorecard, how we have improved attendance of the teachers, attendance of the students, and how their percentage of performance before and how their performance per now. So I think through Tech Mahindra Foundation, we've been able to make a significant impact to the society, and that's one thing I feel pretty good about. I'm responsible for the global delivery of Tech Mahindra BPO enterprise side of the business, and Tech Mahindra is run by CP Gurnani, who is the CEO. Uh, in my role, I do have a responsibility for the delivery across the globe for the enterprise customers, although starting from Philippines to Brazil. I think that if I had to go back and take a look at where I've been able to add my value is number one, fiscal discipline, where we have to make money to survive, and we have to stay lean. And at the same time, CEOs always fly first class. But I said I always ask my guys to fly coach, and I don't want to do the walk the talk. So I always fly coach. I think some of these things, setting the examples and follow it, and also working with the associates and making the tours, talking to them, and putting ear to the ground. All those things tells you where the pulse is, how things are, and also keeping an open eye for all the new technologies that are coming up and how we are shaping up the world. This robotic process automation 3 years ago, it was not there, and now suddenly it changed the world. And so many other options are coming up. And I would say our biggest bets are going to be on blockchain. We definitely have put enough investment on IoT and other things already. Our next new investment is blockchain, and we are making investment there, and we'll be able to make an impact. There were, especially about the Telangana, about rural areas and about some of the things, and because I was seeing how much change that has happened now, and I'm very pleased to know, in fact, I myself couldn't believe that one person can make that change. Can that happen in the span of time frame of 5 years? And at the end of the day, as corporate executives, we work on the single corporation looking at this. Here he had a much bigger responsibility, much bigger focus, and I have a lot of praise for him. Not only having a dream, but also accomplishing the dream and making it real for a lot of millions of people.